Now we turn to President Biden's handling of items marked classified. Even more were found in President Biden's house in Wilmington, Delaware, after the president's lawyers invited the FBI to search it on Friday. Some of those materials date back to Mr. Biden's Senate days more than 14 years ago. Ed O'Keefe is at the White House. Ed, good morning.
Nate, good morning to you. The president's attorney says the latest batch amounts to 6 more items with classification markings, for now a total of between 25 and 30 documents. And in a sign of how this investigation may continue to stretch out, a source familiar with the probe tells CBS News investigators are considering searching other locations.
Mr. President!
Bipartisan questions and concern.
How serious are they? Why were they taken? Did anyone have access to them?
This is a real critical question to all this. Why did he have these documents to begin with?
As even more items with classified markings were found in President Biden's Delaware home Friday after his personal attorneys and White House counsel's office agreed to an FBI search. Over nearly 13 hours, investigators reviewed personally handwritten notes, files, papers, binders, memorabilia, to-do lists, schedules, and reminders going back decades. The president's attorney says the FBI took 6 items consisting of documents with classification markings and surrounding materials. Some from when Mr. Biden served in the Senate, others from when he was vice president. And with no need for a search warrant, allies say that's a big difference from the search for classified documents at former President Donald Trump's Florida home, which did require a warrant.
In the end, we will see this was just an inadvertent matter of filing, in sharp contrast to his predecessor.
But notably, other senior Democrats are taking a more critical stance.
Because it's not supposed to happen. Whether it was the fault of a staffer or an attorney, it makes no difference. The elected official bears ultimate responsibility.
It's just hard to believe that in the United States of America we have a former president and a current president that are basically in the same situation. How does this happen?
We should point out the Bidens were not at their Wilmington, Delaware home at the time of the search on Friday. They spent the weekend at their other Delaware home in Rehoboth Beach. Now, today, the top Republican on the House Oversight Committee says he'll be reaching out to the Secret Service asking for any and all documentation of who might have been visiting the Bidens' residences and potentially could have had access to those documents. Nate?
Ed, while all this is playing out, you have new reporting on a big staff shakeup in the West Wing.
That's right. CBS News has confirmed that President Biden's chief of staff, Ron Klain, is preparing to step down in the coming weeks at some point after the State of the Union next month. He has served in the role for a little more than 2 years, as most chiefs of staff do. So who's up next? Well, we're told it's the former policy czar for COVID-19 response, Jeff Zients. He was responsible for coordinating the administration's response to the pandemic, which he did until stepping down last spring. You can expect Zients will focus on essentially keeping the trains running on time and implementing all that big legislation that was passed over the last 2 years, a big priority for the president. Zients steps into the role, though, as somebody who knows the president pretty well. Nate?
As always, Ed, you're on top of it. Thank you.